In this video, we're going to take a quick look at exactly what Jquery is. With the current proliferation of new languages in modern web development, the terminology can get somewhat confusing. So the short answer...
In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a form that uses Jquery to handle submissions. So in a regular submit, when you press the submit button, most of the time, it's probably going to be something like it's going to serialize the values in the form and then send it, if it's in a get variable, into the URL. So it's going to be looking something like http://www.google.com/?, then it's going to be key equals value and another key equals another value, and so on. Now, what we're going to do today is get rid of this crap and use Jquery to handle all of our submissions. Whether we're polling a PHP script, whether it's some other server, we can use Jquery to handle all their transactions and give us the data back without having to leave the page or reload it. And we start this off by creating a small HTML file, doc type HTML5, HTML head, title, how about Jquery forms submit, title, close head, body, and close body, and close HTML. In the body, we're going to create one form. The method is going to be get. We're not going to mess with password or anything like that. It's just going to be a simple text box and a submit button. Action is equal to, I'm just going to put login.php. We're not going to use any script today, but we're going to have two inputs actually. We're going to have, let's put a label on it. Enter something, label. We can say input, type equals going to be text box, name equals message, close it, and then we're going to have a submit button, type equals submit. And keep in mind, submit and button attributes are two different things, don't confuse them. Submit and value equals submit e, and we close the form off. So that pretty much makes up our HTML code. We're not going to mess with it anymore. Now we're going to delve into JavaScript. And to see the progress, let's refresh it. And there you go. Let's put something, well, hello world, and submit it. And you can see that it's serialized our message and put it part of the URL. Now, if this was a post method, you wouldn't see it in the URL. Instead, it's going to be part of, it's going to be hidden away when you communicate with the server. But since we're using get, it actually appends it to the URL. So what we want to do is get rid of this and just stay on the page and let JavaScript handle the interaction. And to do that, we need Jquery. And you can get Jquery from from the website I'm using, their CDN, the Content Distribution Network. We're just going to attach it to our HTML with a script tag. Type equals text / JavaScript. Source equals that link. Let's close that. Oops. Yeah. And then close the script. And then we're going to put another script in the body. We're going to say, well, it doesn't matter really because we're going to use a ready tag, ready method. Script type equals text / JavaScript. And this block of code is going to be responsible for handling our interaction with the form submission. So we're going to put we're going to say got ready, I'm sorry, function. So all of our JavaScript code is going to be going right in here. And basically what this JavaScript statement is saying is that when the document is ready, meaning when the page has loaded, then execute whatever block of code that's put in here. And this is referencing the window onload function. Oops, the onload method from JavaScript. It's just an alias for it that Jquery has to make it easier on us. So anyway, when the document is loaded, when the form is loaded, the first thing we're going to do is select the form. And we're going to use it, we're going to do that by $, and we're going to select the form, and you can use the form tag to select it. And then I'm going to bind it to the submit method. And this is going to take one parameter, and this is going to be an anonymous function, like so. And in this function, it's basically saying that when this form is submitted, then do this, whatever is inside here. So we're going to say, as soon as someone presses the submit button here, when someone presses this button, then this block of code is going to execute, or this block of code is going to execute. And we're going to want to show the user what they put just for this tutorial. We're going to say message equals, we're going to select this input, we're going to say input name equals message dot val. And this statement is saying that I want you to select any inputs that are named message. So it's going to look through here, it's going to select all inputs, and then it's going to select only the input that's named message, so this one, and then it's going to take the value of it. So whatever I put in here is going to take the value of this and put it in this variable right here. And then we're just going to alert it back to the user. Alert, you put, and combine them, message, and exclamation mark, and close. Now we're not done. After we show this message, we don't want the form to submit normally, meaning, let me show you what I mean. After we do this, we submit, and notice that it's still serializing the input, and we don't want it to do that. Instead, we just want it to execute that block of code and stop. So in order to do that, we have to return false, which prevents the default behavior in submit. So let's try that again. Refresh, submit, and there you go. You put all this crap, and it works. Internet tech tips, submit, there you go. So this allows you to process code without having to submit it to another website or another server, an offsite server, or a PHP script. Instead, you can use JavaScript to process it, and use Ajax to maybe do a post or a get, and get the data back and insert it back into the HTML, which allows you to create dynamic Ajax websites. And it's pretty simple to do, and hopefully you can be much more creative than I am with it. And thank you for watching.
there's a plethora of JavaScript frameworks and libraries out there for you to use as part of your web page. But probably one of the oldest, most distinguished, and most common is something that's called Jquery. Jquery is used by Bootstrap. It's used by a bunch of other frameworks, and it sort of provides a common set of functions and libraries that are used by a bunch of other JavaScript frameworks and on a bunch of pages. So what is Jquery? What does it do? To some degree, Jquery emerged out of a need to try to hide certain differences between browsers that existed at the time. When I deliver JavaScript to a browser, I don't want to worry too much about differences between how browsers render the page and other things like that that could cause my web app or my page to load or look differently on different browsers. And so Jquery originally emerged as a way to sort of paper over and eliminate some of those differences, which I think have sort of converged over time, but Jquery still sort of proves to be quite useful. So what's an example of something that you can do with Jquery? Okay, so I'm at my group's website. This website has Jquery loaded. A lot of times Jquery is loaded into this $sign variable. So this is sort of the entry point into the Jquery library. As its name implies, Jquery is frequently used to make queries over the page contents, and there's a particular way that you do this in Jquery. So for example, here's a way to find all of the H3 tags on the page and print how many there are. So this is going to print 21. There are 21 H3 tags that are present on this page. Now let's say I want to print off the text contents of every one of those H3 tags. I can also do this in Jquery. It provides me with this way to write an iterator. And I'm going to do yeah, there we go. So you'll notice that what this did is it went over all of the H3 tags on the page, and then it printed off the text contents. And what you're seeing here is that I'm using H3 tags on this page for the names of my students. So this is Ali, this is Lakshmi, this is Scott. I'm up there too. And then at the bottom, I have a collaborators tab that has some of the people that we work with. So, so this is an example of the types of things you can do with Jquery. Jquery also has the ability to do AJAX requests, so it can actually make calls to web pages and retrieve contents. Jquery can do animations, so it can animate text coming in and coming out. Jquery can be used to adjust the styling on the page. There's all sorts of things that you can do with the Jquery library. And it's a good place to get started when you start to learn how to program JavaScript, because rather than using some of the browser interfaces directly, it, first of all, sort of, like I said before, eliminates some of the cross-browser incompatibilities and differences that you might find, but it also provides sort of a more powerful and more succinct way of expressing some of the things that you might want to do when you start to program web pages. One of these items, except it actually didn't. Let me try it.
Let's start this one over.
Why?
Because you're...